Welcome to Bookalyptic. Today I will be reviewing Auction to the Vampire by Rosalind Sterling, releasing June 28. And, I know, right? Where do I sign up? Where do I go? I mean, I'm all in for it. But that's not how this story goes. Auction to the Vampire is a prequel novella for Kiss by a Demon, which is the first book in the Wild Shadow series. It's a romantasy, as standalone, and it has a guaranteed HFN. Happy for now. So, in Auction to the Vampire, we follow our MMC Rowan, who is a vampire, and not just that, he is a virgin vampire. And our FMC Nemera, who works in a brothel not as a lady of pleasure, but as a barmaid. And everything I'm going to say is on the blurb of the book, so I'm trying not to spoil anything. But we follow both of them, and well, there is this troupe arriving in the town where Nemera works in the brothel, and this troupe is going to auction Rowan for a very high price because he's a virgin vampire who is worth apparently quite a lot of money, and that's where she first lays eyes on him. Look, the bite of a vampire is said to be the definition of pleasure. It arouses your senses. It gives you the very carnal desire you want. You're all hot and bothered and you're all into it. And I don't know. I never experienced it, so I can't account to that. But because of that, vampires are often auctioned in the underground because this isn't to be taken lightly. It's not something that is actually allowed. So that's why it's in the underground. And a lot of people are willing to pay a lot of money for vampires, and especially a virgin vampire, because they then have their own vampire, their very own vampire, and not only as an object of pleasure, but also as their very own creature of the dark they can control and do whatever they want with. And so Rowan is being auctioned by this troupe, and the auction takes place in the underground, which is in the brothel Nemera works in. She lays eyes on him, and she's not all that happy about what's happening. She doesn't like what they're doing to him. She doesn't like what's happening at all. So she decides to offer him help, the help to escape. And while Rowan, he should decline it. He should say no, but he doesn't. Instead, he asks her to help him, to take his virginity, so that he's no longer a virgin and he's worth less. Yeah. So I found this book I would describe it as a tale of two people finding themselves along the unfortunate path they have been dealt in life. Two people learning to accept the selfishness of someone else, because both Rowan and Nemera have been dealt a not so good fate path in life, if you can call it like that. That's the vibe it gave me. And then we have the world building, of course, which I liked. You have the underground in the brothel, you have the brothel itself, you have the city, the town, you have those enchantresses running around, and you get this feeling of a kind of poverty, because the people in the town, for me it gave a sense of poverty, but then you also have the opposite, the extreme wealth of the persons paying in the auctions to get their own vampires. And then there's also the vibe of danger and mysteriousness, because we have this town, and this town is surrounded by forest, and the forest is teeming with monsters. So these vibes are really, really apparent in the story. And then we have the character development, which for me personally might have been a bit more. While while the actions and the motivations of the characters are clear, like Nemera, she wants to do everything for someone else. She just throws herself aside to help someone else. And then we have Rowan, who is all this touch her and I'll unalive you vibe. So that's clear within the story, but I found there, for me personally, to be a bit of emotional depth missing. And well, this created this kind of lack of connection, which made it sometimes difficult to fully invest in the journey and experience of Nemera and Rowan. But as I said, this is completely subjective for me personally. And then, well, the book is fast-paced, which I think is to be expected of a novella. We have magic and vampires and enchantresses, demons also. And there are a lot of action scenes with fighting and murder and death also. And then we have the non-suitable for work scenes, which I did like. And there should have been more, for me personally. I would have wanted there to be more of those scenes. Because the other scenes, which aren't non-suitable for work, which aren't spicy, they add to the characters, they add to Nemera and Rowan. But for me, personally, were a bit too, can I say standard romantic? I'm not sure if that's the right way to describe it, but it's too sickly sweet and all those things. There is no spice, there is no, well, it's romantic. And personally, I'm not the person for too much of those scenes. I really get bored rather quickly by that. But that's, again, totally subjective. Totally subjective, my personal opinion. And I did like the book. I gave it 3.5 stars. I think the spice will be 1.5 or 2 maximum. We have the strangers to lovers vibe. We have the vampire MMC, human FMC, the toucher and alive view, dual point of views, brothel romance, and love at first bite. So, in conclusion, Auction to the Vampire is a fast-paced romantasy perfect for enthusiasts of vampires and persons who like feel-good romance. I'm not sure if I have to mention this every time on YouTube, but I'm going to do it, just in case. My review is voluntarily, my opinions are my own, and I want to thank the author Rosalind Sterling for giving me the opportunity to read this arc. I will leave a link in the comments below, in the description below, so you can check out the book. Because it is a good book, and if you like vampires, be sure to check it out. So, quick side note. When I was young, I'm not saying I'm not young anymore, but quite a while ago, I used to leave my bedroom window open, just a tiny bit, hoping there would be a vampire popping in and biting me and making me a vampire also, because ever since I was a kid, I'm a sucker for vampires, and yes, I know, pun intended. And that urge hasn't gone away. It totally hasn't, because everything vampires, I'm all in for it. I like it, and I wouldn't oppose to a vampire popping in and biting me to make me a vampire also. Still not opposed to it. So, let me know in the comments below if you also like vampires, vampire books, movies, stories, series, anything vampire. Maybe you like something else. Totally okay with that also. Let me know in the comments below. And for now, thank you for watching my video, investing your time in my video. And well, I hope to see you in the next one.